So yeah, I would recommend retopologizing inside of Maya with quad draw for those armor pieces. But if you wanted to stay inside of ZBrush, I don't recommend it. One, two, if you really like, you didn't want to go into Maya and do all this, and you wanted to try to go like ZRemesh or Dynamesh. One, I don't know if it's going to do a great job for you, but I mean, you could easily use the topology brush on this, right? So topo brush would work. Extraction really isn't going to do it for you. Extraction will give you like your form, right? It's nothing that you're going to be able to use in final output. It's only going to be able to be used as reference. The reason why is it's so high poly. You try and Dynamesh that with the spacing in between it, and it's just going to look crunchy and not clean. You know, and something like this, you want it to look really clean. I mean, in my opinion, I'd say I'd want it clean. You know, you would want to hold nice edges on there. I mean, ZRemesher is better at doing hard surface. You could try ZRemeshing this and see what comes up. I can't really see what's going on in the legs, but if you're looking for a cleaner result from just extraction, you're going to want to play with a couple sliders. All right, so I'm noticing you have a lot of little jaggeds along here. One thing that you can do let's see. Is you can play with the smooth, right? But you play at the smooth and you're going to start getting rounded edges and less sharp edges. But absolutely, Maya is way better. Like I would just use that, what you have as a reference, and retopo in Maya and then extract. But otherwise, you're looking at killing yourself with Dynamesh and ZRemesher and extraction and trying to go low res, high res, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's awesome for concepting because you got everything there. You just have to retopo it. So let's see. Any other questions about just the armor? Thanks, thanks, Marcos. I'm having a lot of fun with him. He is very kaiju-like. And I'll admit, I wasn't a huge fan of like Pacific Rim at first, and it took me a couple watchings to really get into it, just because it was unique. You know, it caught me off guard. But Christian, any other questions about your armor? Okay, let's jump over to what's going on here. So I see you got curves laid down. You're trying to play with the mesh density, making lighter areas, denser areas, and your curves look good. I'd say that's looking all right. Let's take a look at your result. And what's your count on this guy right now? Okay, it's not too bad. But I mean, like I'm looking at like your tailpiece. This looks really nice and clean, by the way. Like from here, this little bit of twisting that I'm seeing in the topology might cause you some issues if that were like an absolutely rigid shape. But I don't know if it's an absolutely rigid shape. I get the impression that it's more like it's more of a flexible shape, like a like a squid fin or something like that. Looking at your legs look great, by the way. You got great legs, Christian, just to let you know. No, these legs are looking good. I don't see any spiraling. This piece right here coming out from the joint and the way your joints form is perfect. Looking here. Yeah, dude. You got it. I think this is going to be a really weird, cool piece, especially if you can get it rigged. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see this thing move around. Let's take a look at the head. Head looks good. Let's look at the center of the torso. Okay. Alrighty. I see an issue, but don't fret. It looks like it can be easily solved. Hey, look at that. It's an ad. All right. One second. Just going to push your comments through. All right. So let's just look here. All right. So I'll show you the problematic areas, and you probably already know them, but I'll pull them up anyways. So I'm looking at this turn in the topology. This turn, not such a big deal, but actually, I'm going to do this color-coded for you. So let's go red, orange, and yellow. So this isn't great. I think this might cause you some, there's the possibility this might cause you issues, but it's not going to kill you, right? This could be absolutely fine. I think this area could be an issue. And actually, let me make those both orange because those are even secondary to the biggest one. Do you know what the biggest issue is right now in your topology? Nope, the density change is not it. I'll show you where it's at. That whole section right there. If we zoom out, right, and we look at your piece, this is what you're after. Actually, I said I would color code it, so I will. This is good. That's good. Because of the odd shape of your head, that's good. This is all fine. Because it's not a major area of animation. This thing kind of, if we want to go into a hierarchy of sort of how things animate, mainly you want the body to be able to flex. This thing doesn't really have a neck, so you don't have to worry about flexing a neck around. Or it kind of has this like a very short neck. You want your legs to be able to move around. Let's go blue here. So there's the segments for your legs, right? You should want a cylinder here ideally. And I didn't see this from your other, like looking up here, your legs looked solid, but this bottom part is kind of an issue. You want that to flow like that, right? So you want a cylinder here, cylinder in each part of the leg. And then you need a cylinder in the torso if you want this to move around sort of as it should, where you have a separation between, the abdomen and the upper portion of the body, right? You need this connector to get those two areas to flex together, so he can wiggle his tail, so he can move around, right? So you get a dynamic range of motion. But let's look at the top, because I think in your design note, you have it in your design. I'd say to get that, you need possibly a little bit more distance here, right? But I think you could squeeze it in, honestly. Right? So here's the good thing. You're seeing a very small area of red. Now, it isn't a major part of the model, right? But it's not going to kill you, right? I mean, you have good stuff going on in your topology all the way around. Let's look at your side view and let's look at your head a little bit more. I think that this makes sense for the head that you have designed. Not so worried about the feet, because those are really just a hard surface object. I mean, maybe you could have like these flop around, which would be kind of cool, right? Also, from the other view, for rigging purposes, you want these, you want your tentacles to be straight out. Sorry, that's not very straight. Let's try it again. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. So you want your tentacles straight out from there. And that way and anytime there's tentacles, you want tentacles always to be straight. You don't want them curved around. You could do, I'd say honestly, let's see how dense this is. First of all, let's bounce back over to here. All right, this area is fairly dense. Like the belly is really dense. And I think that you're going to have issues. Like it's just going to take you forever with the curves to go in there and try and do mesh replacement with the curve, the topo brush. right? I'd say you could do this as a two-step process. I'd say reduce the density of this area. All right, so I would get rid of that in your paint here on the belly. And for this piece, this, you know, your little sack here, I would probably maybe model these separately. And then you could use, if you want to stay within ZBrush, you can use the Z Modeler brush and use QMesh to connect them to the faces. You would just have to make sure that they're very low, right? So they match up with the topology that you have here. You'd have to connect them to faces in here. So I would lighten this up, right? Model these as separate pieces and then use QMesh to connect them. I think that's the ZBrush solution, right? You could also go into Maya and do some work in there too. Pushing your comments out. Yep. Yeah, I mean, the thing is you only make, like, you're saying, though, there's 9 holes there, right? You're talking about in here, right? Or are you talking about here? Right. So what you can do is you can make one of these. You can make just one of these, duplicate it, and then QMesh them together. Right? Same thing here. You can arrange them and then QMesh them together so they're one piece. These are where the tentacles attach. Okay. And I'm just saying that if you want to stick within ZBrush, and it seems like you're trying to, like you don't want to jump back over to Maya. In Maya, it would be a matter of modeling out, same thing, modeling out one, duplicating it, and then deleting the faces underneath and deleting the faces on the bottom, and then appending across, or merging across, like merge verts, or, you know, use the merge vertices tool, or weld the edges. Same thing here. You can make a sphere, right? That's the density that you want, and then push in, flatten out the bottom, and then append that into the geometry. Yeah, so either way works. It just all depends on how you construct it. I mean, the thing is that you know, by using Maya, it provides a lot of easy solutions. You know, I think that there's a lot of negativity that floats around about Maya, and I have my moments with Maya, and you hear me complain sometimes, oh, Maya this, Maya that, whatever. But Maya's like the Swiss Army knife. It ties, well, it's the handle of the Swiss Army knife, you know, between ZBrush and, I mean, RealFlow and crowd simulation generators and all sorts of apps. Maya is the hub that keeps them working together and being able to pass things back and forth and get it rendered in Mental Ray or V-Ray or whatever that might be. I mean, there's standalone stuff, but I mean, you know, Maya's that hub because it's such a huge tool. I don't mean that. I'm not calling Maya a jerk. I'm saying not tool in the slang sense, but Maya is an enormous tool, tons of functionality, and it's been around for so long that there's so much third-party support for file formats, for integration with other programs, integration with ZBrush, and all sorts of stuff. Anyways, but I don't need to beat a dead horse. But it is important to go into, and you should feel comfortable jumping in there, you know, and don't be afraid of the big bad wolf. You know, it's not a scary beast. You know, it's just not as warm and fuzzy as some other applications. So, okay. Any other questions for me? All right, cool, dude. Thank you, Christian, for awesome work. Looking forward to seeing your next update and to see what you do with this in Substance.